intro to what my next project on the Jeep is. If you can't tell, it's a little tune-up. So I have some spark plug wires here. These are the Acell Super Stocks. I just went onto Advanced Auto's website. I wanted red for the engine, so I would have went with anything, but I specifically wanted some red ones. So these were an exact fit. So, you know, I got the 6 cylinders, so I got the 6 spark plug wires, the 2 base connections. So if you guys are wondering what part this was, I think it was like $70. That's part 509R. So we'll see. You know, later on I'll have a video of me installing all this stuff and going through all that. I also have a new distributor cap. So my Jeep's also an 87 if you haven't watched any of the older videos. So I got a new cap and a new rotor. So there's like a bunch of cheap versions of this stuff. I wanted to go a little bit higher priced. And by cheap, I mean like this thing was like $2. So I ended up going with like the $8 or $9 one because why not? And then this was like $20 or something versus like 10 or 12. So the part number for this, this is that BWD Select. That's part number C182. All this stuff is from Advanced Auto Parts, by the way. And then my distributor, the rotor piece, is part number D197P. Same brand. So, yeah, I decided, like, because with these things, like, they're so cheap to start with that why not go with a little bit better of one. And then the wires, you know, I splurged a little bit on those. They were close to $70. The spark plugs, I was going to go with some really nice spark plugs because, like, you know, you only have to do it every once in a while. And they were, I think these ones were like $2.50 a piece versus, like, I was going to go with like some $7 ones. But I read a lot on Jeep forums and had some people respond to me about that and saying that, you know, you won't ever reach the heat that you need to start them. So these cheaper ones actually work a little bit better. I already gapped them all to 35 or 0.035. So those are all set to install. And then I have positive and negative terminal battery cables there. I don't really like those. I might get some different ones later on. I'm unsure if I'm going to replace those, but at the time I was like, why not? So yeah, I mean, the next part of this is going to be me installing all this stuff into the Jeep. So this is going to be part of the video here where I'm going to be switching out the spark plugs. So the spark plugs, they got new wires, the distributor cap and the rotor that's inside of there as well. Should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to get some tape and label these 1 through 6 going back. And then that way those are labeled, and then I'll pull all the cables and the distributor cap all at once, and then I'll match up cables over here, label the new cables 1 through 6, attach them to the new cap and everything, change out the spark plugs, and then put everything back in. So it's not too bad. One thing that I didn't mention is a lot of videos I found for the distributor cap were for like these terminals on top of here were jutting out. So these ones with the 87, at least, I'm not sure which other ones, the terminals are down in there, so all the wires kind of have a connection that need to go down into that. So it's a little different than the other ones you would see. I was a little confused at first too, but yeah, I mean, that's that. So I'm just gonna triple check everything, get started on moving that, and I guess I'll just show you when it's wrapped up. Oh, and I got a new battery I need to put in here. I'm gonna clean this out while it's out of here, install the new battery and all that. So yeah, more to come in a little bit here. All right, so this car to pass. What I did here is I have everything taken off and numbered with its matching cable, and then what I did on here was you know, it started, I have like this little jut out piece here with nothing on it. same one on the new one to match them up. So I'll use that as a reference point, and I just numbered across here which numbers went to which terminal. That way when I hook it up, it's real easy. And then so I got it all apart now. I just need to get in there. You can kind of see some oil ganked up on there. I should at some point try and clean that off, but that's all from when I replaced my valve cover gasket. I haven't had any extra on there, so that's been kind of nice. But there still is like a lot of it just on there. It's just dirty in general. At some point I'll get around to cleaning everything up. But in the meantime, right here is where the cap was. So I left the rotor in there for now. But what'll happen is, you pull that straight out and just slide the new one straight in, because that needs to be in the same direction it was when it was turned off. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead, switch out the spark plugs, put the new ones in, grease everything up, put everything back together, and throw the battery in, see if she runs. And if she does, just let her warm up and take her. It's a nice February day. It's about 35-40 degrees out or something right now, 35. So yeah, I'll just get this closed up and I'll show you what it looks like. I'll put back together. Alright, so here's everything put together. It's a little later on. I wanted to drive and get it around, make sure it ran fine and everything. So here's all the wires hooked up. The pack came with like little clips to organize it, but I mean it's all pretty good and well organized anyways. So yeah, I mean I got all the wires hooked up. I ended up switching my 4th cylinder and my 5th cylinder wires because the one for the 4 was real long, the one for the 5 didn't quite make it to the distributor cap, so I just swapped those around. And then everything else went to plan. Just hooked up my battery. I bought these and some dielectric grease like pack thing because I didn't want any corrosion, because I did not change out my battery cables. So the cleaner I can keep that, the better. But yeah, I mean she purred like a kitten, or like a tiger, one of them. And let's see what else. I actually didn't do a video either on the tail lights when I installed those, but yeah, just got the nice round, relatively flush mount tail lights. They're pretty thin, but this outer layer is the reverse light, and then this inner one is the brake light, so, and turn signal stuff. So they look pretty sweet. You can see a bunch of rust coming in. I'm gonna have to clean that up, and my plan is to monster line the body with the bed liner, the white bed liner. But in the meantime, it's actually supposed to snow tonight and stuff, and I want to drive this to work tomorrow and everything. So I'm just kind of making sure she ran good, topped her off with gas and everything, check the oil, make sure everything's good with that. But yeah, I mean that was a pretty easy project, and I mean it fired right up. Before it kind of had trouble starting. So in a minute here I'll go inside and I'll show you guys what my old spark plugs look like, and go over why I was having issues with starting and running and all that. Alright, so here's the my 6 spark plugs, 1 through 6 going that way. So what I meant by reading them is like, let's see if we can focus on that. So I had a little bit of corrosion here. Everything else was in pretty good shape. This one didn't seem to burn too dirty or anything. Let's see if that'll focus. It's old, like wasn't the best looking. So, but for how cheap these are, it's like why not just do it. This one was, if I remember, yeah, this one. What the heck? There we go. Let's see here. Just had, it almost looks like dust buildup, but they don't look too bad, like it's a little burnt on the end here, but nothing too crazy. Definitely was, I wasn't expecting anything bad, but this one was pretty bad. This one had some flaking and some buildup, and that's cylinder 3. I think that's just some gunk that was from my oil leak and stuff on the engine. So overall, not too bad. You know, just why not replace them? You know, get a better thing. This one actually has a fair amount of white left on it. So you know, I just got back from the test drive when I showed you guys the that part just a second ago. And I mean, I haven't had this thing run since like maybe November, and the battery had died, so I just like replaced all that stuff, threw in the new battery, and I mean, everything fired up like a charm, just real quick, fast fire up. Then of course, you know, let it idle and get up to temperature, but none of these plugs are like really bad or anything, so you know, I probably could have left them, but you know, if I'm doing all the other stuff to tune it up, why not do the plugs? So you know, that was that. And then I showed you the tail lights. So my next project I have, sorry, my dogs are making a bunch of noise. But the next project I have is going to be switching out my tires, doing a lift kit, something along those lines. So that'll be a little bit of time. I have the rims and everything. I just need to do, what's it called? Just need to do the rim paint and everything and get some tires. So stay posted for that. Thank you guys.